Hey, welcome to NCAA football, college football. This is week 2. We're going to look at what happened during week 2, and then we're going to also look at what's going to happen in week 3. And when I say week 3, I mean WEAK 3, because there's really not a whole lot. I'm John.
I'm Bobby.
And I'm Josh.
And welcome. And so we're going to go ahead and hop into the biggest games of last week, which we had already previewed for you, and talk about what happened. First of all, as we get into that, let's talk about the Big Ten. Or what, maybe we should call them the Little Ten or something. I don't know. But it looks like they've imploded. I mean, right now on the East, guess who's leading? Y'all know?
No, I don't.
It's Rutgers. Rutgers is on top of the East.
Okay.
And they just left the AAC.
And Nebraska is on top of the West, which Nebraska, they won 2 straight, so maybe they've got something. I don't know. We'll find out.
I mean, just because they lost
Ten.
doesn't mean they're bad teams.
Yeah. Well,
No, I know it, but that's a tough start for the Big Ten.
when you look at Nebraska barely squeaking by McNeese State.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So it might, we're going to have to keep an eye on the Big Ten. But let's talk, okay, speaking of the Big Ten, Michigan State, the big game, they played Oregon, and they played a great first half.
No, they played first great 3 quarters.
Sure.
Yeah, they only scored 3 points.
But still, it wasn't until the 4th quarter that I think it was like a lot of points.
So what happened? Did they get worn out? What is it?
I think
Did Oregon
so.
figure it out?
Well, first thing, we all need to apologize for making an incorrect pick last week. We were all confident that Sparty was going to do it.
I'm a little disappointed.
And I think they did get worn out. I think that their defense is good, but you run in that pace, if your offense doesn't keep you off the field long enough, I think Oregon's going to wear you out. That's what happened.
I think that is what happened. So what we have, Oregon's going to play Wyoming this coming week. Wyoming's won their first 2 games, but it doesn't really mean a lot.
No,
we don't expect much out of Wyoming in this game.
And just real quick, I still think Michigan State's the best team in the Big Ten.
Okay.
Just because they got beat by Oregon, I still
it's out of
think
conference, so the conference is wide open. I might say a team like Wisconsin, who really gave LSU all they could handle, I think that might be the best team. But
yeah, well, they're going to have a real scramble in the Big Ten to find out who that is. And also, another team that lost, and this is a big one as well, Virginia Tech beat Ohio State.
Which I think we all said that would happen too.
We all said it was going to happen last week. Of course, we were picking it sort of as an upset, but not really a surprise upset. Because there were a lot of question marks with Ohio State, and Virginia Tech was looking good, and they did look good. They looked good in that game.
But let's remember, if Braxton Miller were to play in this game, it would have been a lot different.
It could have been a lot different.
I mean, getting Virginia Tech having 7 sacks.
But Ohio State, to me, looked. Either Virginia Tech's defensive line is just incredible because they were getting into the quarterback over and over again.
Yeah, I think it was a combination. I think they got out-coached. I think the game plan for Virginia Tech was a lot better, even offensively. I think I really think the hype, LeBron James, all these recruits, biggest ever game at Ohio State, it just got to their heads, and I don't think they were really focused. Yeah. But good job, Hokies.
You got to be proud of
them. I mean, nobody's beaten them in a opening non-conference game in 25 years.
Also, Urban Meyer's 15 home win streak snapped. Basically, all home games at Ohio State he won until now.
Yeah,
and rough. It was a close game until that pick 6, so it was really a tight game throughout the whole thing.
Okay, now let's talk about. Can we move on? Okay, now who do we pick with Michigan and Notre Dame last
We picked Notre Dame.
We picked Notre Dame, and Bobby picked Michigan. Okay, wow. I don't even know what to say. Their final regular season battle together, and it was pretty miserable. 31-0.
I don't think you can say Notre Dame's amazing after this game. I think it's more of a.
You think it's Michigan?
They played the game at Notre Dame. I mean, I overlooked that point.
That's just that was pretty sad. It was a real blowout. I really don't know what to think out of that.
Yeah.
Whether just to be very unimpressed with Michigan or very impressed with
I've been very unimpressed with Michigan for the past couple of years. So,
I think too, you look at that game, I think Golston being back has got Notre Dame in kind of a rejuvenated state. I think they're looking a lot better. So I don't know. We'll see what Michigan's got left in the tank, but
we'll see. I'm sure Michigan State is chomping at the bit once again to meet up with them. Okay, USC and Stanford. Did you guys watch that game?
I did.
It's a defensive battle for those 2 teams, and USC
we all said
held out.
Stanford would win, I think. And Stanford, USC
13-10.
Yeah,
we're talking.
If we all agree on a game, you better be watching out.
Well, I think that, I mean, we overlooked USC beat them last year.
They
beat
did,
Stanford
yeah.
last year, so it was one of those things where sometimes it's just they match up well with other teams, and I don't know. I'm interested to see what USC does this year because now that they got Lane Kiffin out of their system, maybe they'll start.
We got Lane Kiffin in our system, Alabama, but okay. So USC is going to go on and they're going to face Boston College, who are fresh off a loss to Pittsburgh.
So it's kind of
And
an off game.
no, I would say
there's
for
still an average.
USC that shouldn't be a problem. They shouldn't have a problem there. Stanford's going to play Army once again. They shouldn't have a problem at both of those teams a chance to recuperate. So we'll see with that one. And one other game, we didn't talk about this one last week, but it's worth mentioning this week. BYU.
Wow.
They went in and absolutely
Smashed.
obliterated Texas.
No fluke there.
At Texas. I mean, what on earth? So
This is the second
is
year
it-
in a row that
Yes.
BYU's
Okay, last year, Texas had all the coaching problems
Sure.
in that mess. This year, they've got a new coach,
Excuse.
and my goodness.
Basically, they're going to start having coaching problems soon.
Let's just see. Texas is in a very big problem right now because, golly, Texas A&M is whooping them in recruiting. I mean, most likely going to whoop them this year.
Oh my
And then
goodness.
you've got,
So
quarterbacks.
State and everybody else that faces them.
Texas is the state that puts out some of the best quarterbacks. I mean, Michael Brewer at Virginia
Yeah.
Tech just beat Ohio State from Texas. These guys, even Barrett, quarterback of Ohio State,
Yeah.
was from Texas, even though they didn't
Yes.
play too good. But I mean, they put out good quarterbacks, and gosh, Texas can't even find their own quarterback. So they got a mess on their
Yeah,
hands.
they do have a mess on their hands. Or either that or BYU is just really impressive.
I think it's a mix of both
Sure.
because BYU first crushed UConn, not that big of a deal.
Sure.
Then crushed Texas. They have a pretty doggone rough schedule.
Sure.
Well, okay, so BYU is going to play Houston this week, and they're not a super strong team this year. And Texas is going to host UCLA. Now,
But UCLA is kind of looking sloppy right now. They're not really beating people up either. But you're right; it should be interesting. Texas needs to make a statement because
wow, and that's a tough way to. If UCLA goes in there and just absolutely creams them, it's going to be a real problem.
Which
for Texas.
I would expect that to happen.
But I mean, UCLA struggled with Virginia and struggled with Memphis last week. So
Except you would think, like I was telling my dad, BYU beat Texas, and earlier they only beat UConn by 25. They come out there and crush Texas. You're going to run the score up on a team like Texas. You're not just going to sit back.
Yeah.
If you can, you're going to keep scoring. You're not going to stop. So I think it's tough for Texas. But when teams come out there, it's still more of a we want to keep scoring and show everybody what we can do to a big team.
Okay, this week we also have an SEC Big 12 game with Tennessee facing Oklahoma at Oklahoma.
Do you think there's any way?
Yeah, both of them have not lost a game.
Sure.
And they're coming into this, but my gut feeling is Tennessee doesn't have a chance.
I think this is almost like your bowl game in a sense. I mean, I think that they're probably good enough to make a bowl, but you got to look at this game. This is our chance to get back on the map. This is just like what Virginia Tech did last week. Tennessee's been out of the spotlight for years. If they can come out and make a statement, beat number 4, I think there's talk of them having a chance in the SEC East. So they've got a chance.
It would be a big statement.
Do they have the players? I
But
don't know.
neither one of these guys have really played a tough team yet.
Sure.
Both of these teams, Tennessee, Utah State, Arkansas State,
Yeah.
Oklahoma.
Tulsa.
They played Tulsa and Louisiana Tech, I believe. And so,
If this game was at Rocky Top, I might feel a little more inclined
Really?
to. But then again, after my last week's picks,
I don't know what this
Tennessee
is.
might win.
I'm going to
think
say it
Oklahoma
depends
will win it.
on the quarterback for Oklahoma. How does Hill do? Does he just crush Tennessee, or can they contain him?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Another big SEC game battle, but to me it's not really a battle. Would be Georgia Bulldogs, who only have had the one complete blowout, blowing Clemson out. That's the only game they played because they had a bye week last week. And they're going to be playing South Carolina this week. Who, South Carolina, just barely squeaked by East Carolina. Hokies face East Carolina this week, right? Yeah, so it could be East Carolina's pretty good, but granted, South Carolina looks like they're struggling early on this year. So what do we think is going to happen with that one, Georgia?
I think it's going to be a pretty doggone big win for Georgia.
Doggone big.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a pretty big win for Georgia. It shouldn't even be close.
I don't think so. I think South Carolina, Spurrier's too good of a coach. I think they'll have them ready, and I think Georgia will win. But there's parity in the SEC. Sometimes there's that one team that just looks amazing one week and then just gaps the next. But I'm still taking
And
the
Georgia has traditionally done that.
At the
You know,
same time, though, they have a whole bye week they're playing for this.
True.
That's 2 weeks to plan for a game against a team that's lackluster.
Like we said before, if Gurley's healthy, they're going to go as Gurley goes. In South Carolina, we'll see. I mean, again, they're on the road. They're at South Carolina, so that benefits the Gamecocks. We'll see if Spurs got some tricks up his sleeve.
All right. So how about your alma mater, UCF? They face
Tough Missouri.
looks like a tough Missouri team. So what do we think is going to happen with that one?
They've had 2 weeks to prepare. I think with Justin Holman starting now as the quarterback, I think it gives him a chance. He's an athletic guy. He can run. He's struggled with accuracy, but he's got a strong arm. I think their defense can keep him in the game. I don't know if they've got enough, especially going to Missouri.
Yeah.
But I like their chance. I think they'll be in the game. I think it'll be a good game.
How about you, Josh?
I watched
UCF
Missouri's
has a
quarterback Mock play last year when James Franklin got hurt. He's a really good quarterback. The dude knows how to play. I don't think UCF can beat Missouri. I'm not saying they don't have a chance. I just think Missouri's going to be able to beat
You think
The
he's
them.
question is Mock, is he a Bo Wallace where some games he's just really hot, some games he's not, or is he more consistent?
I mean, Hackenberg's a pretty good quarterback at Penn State.
Yes.
Even though he did throw for 400 against UCF. But they picked him off a couple times, kept him in the game.
Yeah.
You know, we'll see. I think UCF's got a shot.
All right, the final game that I have is looking at Boise. As they're going to be playing UConn, which we've already mentioned.
Right.
UConn.
They got crushed by BYU.
So, and Boise, they're at least off a game against Colorado State where they look pretty good.
Right.
It was a good game both offensively and
It
defensively.
kind of gave me hope that we'll definitely be able to beat our conference opponents, just
Yeah.
because they're not that difficult to beat.
It looks like
It's-
it looks like there's some struggles in the Mountain West right now.
And that could beat them a BCS ticket if they do.
Right, it could. If you're the top
If we're in
non-BCS team, they'll give you a better, not necessarily BCS, but one of the is 4 playoff games.
Yes.
And then there's I think 3 or 4 other games, right, that you can get into.
Yeah.
That
So they could
are,
get into
that
BCS.
were the BCS.
Sure.
Well, UConn, their only loss, which we mentioned, was to BYU.
Sure.
And BYU doesn't look like it's fooling around this year, so
Right. So I don't think
That's
Boise
for
State
sure.
can just push them over. It's at UConn.
yeah, I think they're going to
So,
have to be careful with that.
Just
one.
because BYU beats you big doesn't mean you're a bad team.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so BYU is an independent, right? So
Right.
they
Yes.
have a chance to, I mean, if they were to go undefeated, maybe have a chance to play off, most likely not, but potentially one of the bigger bowls as Boise
Right.
State is trying to fight for.
Which they're ranked now.
And,
So they're
and of
25th.
course, Notre Dame is also looking at the same thing.
Except Notre Dame is normally more of a traditional program
Yeah.
right now than BYU.
That's right.
Sure.
That's right. Okay, well, that's the games for this week. Hope you enjoy it, and we'll be back with you to look what happened and talk about the next week as well.